As we can see, a broad radial mind must be cultivated to comprehend the extraterrestrial point of view transmitted through cosmic science, the view of the nature and structure of the universe seen from outside of the limited field of Earth. Let us take a moment to review. Science today, as perceived in books like Evolution of the Universe 1983 by Igor Novikov, is this science of the surface civilization of V24-3. For example, Novikov makes declarations such as, "We see the ultimate fate of the universe depends on the actual value of the mean density of all kinds of matter in the universe." Page 32. From a cosmic science perspective, this is purely a projection of the physicalist view of historical materialism. Again, we must stop and ask, what is the nature of the universe that can be derived from these descriptions? What is the role and nature of the human being in this? As we have seen, the human corresponds to the intentional thinking element in the universe. This intentional thinking unit is involved in the laws of karma dharma, and is also born as a triadic entity, third, fourth, and fifth dimensional beings. Modern science, as it has been constructed, views the whole universe from a very limited and distorted perspective of planet Earth. Consider the following two factors. The factor of limited scope. From the point of view of the Earth's atmosphere, it is hard to see the whole system universe, much less the home galaxy. Earth is just a little planet on the Orion arm of this particular galaxy, Milky Way as we call it, though that is just a neo-mythical name for it. Most modern science books construct various hypotheses and theories that they are always trying to test, not being completely conscious or taking account of the fact that a conditioned and limited factor in their investigation is the very point of view of where they are on Earth. It is like having a lens that is not perfectly polished or adequate for the job. Of course, with the Hubble spacecraft, they have been able to put a telescope out into space, and that gives them a slightly better point of view because it is not just seen from the Earth. In relation to the whole universe, the Hubble is still very limited. It will probably never leave the Vela pulsar zone, some 6,000 light-years distance, and hence remain in the Orion arm throughout its existence. The factor of the unexamined mind. Of course, when you read contemporary descriptions or theories of the nature of the universe, cosmos or the galaxy, most people do not really know what they are looking at. The best they can do is describe objects in space from a point of view of celestial mechanics or space mechanics, the basis of ballistics and rocketry. Objects in space are often viewed as bullets, rockets, or some other object being discharged. There also exists different analysis of thermic, luminic, or radiative effects to determine what types of gas or different types of chemical compositions there might be. From the spectral analysis, the astrophysicists conclude that there are 4 types of galaxies: elliptical galaxies, spiral galaxies, ventricular galaxies, and irregular galaxies. Through spectral analysis, it can be determined how much of those galaxies are made up of gas. For example, maybe 1% of the elliptical to maybe 15% of the spirals. Then it can be determined whether or not all the galaxies are in motion in relationship to each other, and whether there is a common universal center that all galaxies are speeding out from. But what is a galaxy? What are we talking about? A galaxy is a system, one of billions that make up the universe. That includes stars, nebula, star clusters, globular clusters, and interstellar matter. But that hardly tells us anything. It is like describing an internal nerve ending without knowing it is a nerve ending, much less a composite part of a huge whole system, body, that exists in an incomprehensible space beyond all knowing. That is why it is important to keep the above point of view in mind as a measure or gauge while we explore the extraterrestrial perspective of cosmic science. Being outside of the Earth's consciousness, cosmic science comes from a cosmocentric perspective, not necessarily from some place in space, but from somewhere in the universal mind, advanced enough to have its own dispensation of reflecting the whole. Such perspective is dependent on evolved telepathic intelligence, not limited to a particular physical location. Because of its paranormal plasticity, this evolved intelligence can acquire points of view and evidence inaccessible to an intelligence in which telepathy has not yet been normalized. By absorbing ourselves in the study of cosmic science, we get to the point of going out of the body just by meditating on the meaning of cosmic science. It is possible for your consciousness to rise through the top of your head, travel through the fifth dimension, and then return with information. If surrender is sincere, you will be impregnated by plasmatic energies described in this text. When you deal with information of this cosmocentric nature, you actually become cosmocentric. You cannot expose yourselves to something this genuinely new without being transformed.